Welcome to this beginner's course in Style3D Atelier. Now, this user interface is applies to Style3D, and even maybe those who are interested, it's slightly different. If you know the software Marvelous Designer, it's also applicable. So there you have this 3D window to your left and the 2D window to your right. But slowly, when we go to, when we create garments, I'm going to get you familiarized with the different tools. So here I clicked on there's the resource library because I clicked on the triangular icon because I need to bring up the avatar. And here on the resource library, you see avatar. We're going to choose a female avatar. You double click and you see this window that opens up here. And it's there's written open. So we want to open that file, and that file contains the avatar. So you click on OK, and there you get your avatar. She comes up. Now, today we're going to be doing a cropped, simple cropped top with a wavy hemline. So I'm going to show you the various tools you can use to get you started. In the beginning, if you scroll, that's right. If you scroll in your 2D window, you scroll with the mouse, you move the avatar closer and further away. Now we go and we click on the pen tool in the upper left window. And with this pen tool, you see there's a little cursor that there you left click with your mouse, left mouse click in order to it's like create a dot and then you drag. Then you left mouse click again and you drag because we're forming a quarter of the pattern. Left mouse click and you drag and you continue doing this. Left mouse click and drag for a line. And then you just click once and then here the pattern is formed. If you notice in the 3D window, it's just materializes right in front of her. So here we have a quarter of the pattern, and of course we need another half to finish the front pattern. So we click on our select move tool, and this tool selects and moves, selects and moves. So here we selected this pattern here. And what we're going to do is it moves it. We're going to right click in order to get the other half. If you note, it also with the gizmo and without the gizmo, only being a dot, you can move the pattern in the left window also, the 3D window. So now what we're going to do is we're going to right click and this window comes up and we're going to select a pattern that's symmetric. Okay. Symmetric. If you see the top part of the window, there is symmetric pattern. We select that and automatically another pattern is created. Okay. Symmetric being whatever I do on this pattern, it reflects on the other pattern. Whatever I do on that one mirrors on the other pattern. So in the beginning, it's a very important to know this. So the edit pattern tool is very important because with this you change the patterns, you edit them. For example, if I left click on this point, you see the other point is highlighted because of the symmetry. Here I left click and I drag it down. Okay, maybe I need a neckline to be changed into a more V-neck. So I just left click and I drag it down. Now, if you want to select the whole pattern because we need a back pattern, you go back to your select tool, select move tool. And what you can do is you can draw out a rectangular box. Okay, you left click once and you just slowly draw this rectangular box. You left click and you just draw it out. So you see this dotted line that encircles the box. So we've selected these two patterns together because we want to a copy of these patterns, okay? Not of one, but of both. Another way to do it is to select, left click on one, hold your down shift, select the other, and there again, the box comes up. So there are two ways of doing this. Here, we're going to just draw the rectangle to select it. Now, when you do this, what you do is you right click, and when you right click, there the dialog box comes up again, and then you copy, click on copy, left click on copy, right click again, and click on paste. And here you have the back pattern that's created. So with the back pattern created, an easy way to put it behind the avatar is you push it to the front like that, and then you just slide it to the back. Okay, and there it's done. So here we have the wrong sides and there is the wrong and the right side. So it's on the wrong side. And I'm going to, if you click on fabric, there's textured surface and cloth thickness. Okay. The textured surface means that you're just previewing how the garment will look. The cloth thickness instead, like it controls the depth of the garment. So if you click, if you take away the cloth thickness, you click on it again on fabric. Let's click on fabric. If you take away the cloth thickness, you'll understand what's the right and the wrong side of the garment, you see, of the pattern pieces. So here, this is the right side of the front and the back side is the wrong side. And here we have the wrong side at the back. So what we have to do is we have to, okay, if you put back cloth thickness, then you show, as I've said before, the depth of the garment, like the edge thickness. The garments look more structured, but we'll take it away because we want to show you now how to flip this back pattern to the right side. So to flip this to the right side, what we're going to do is we're going to have to select it. Select both patterns for the back pattern. Here we can select it in the 3D window or the 2D window. But in the 2D window, we can just draw out that rectangular box and we can just right click even in the 3D window and flip it horizontally. Flip horizontally 3D, so it's flipped to the right side. Okay, flip horizontally 3D. So now that it's flipped, we have everything, the sides that they're supposed to be, and we sometimes want to make put the patterns closer to the avatar's body. Now we want to sew. We choose segment sewing here. Segment sewing is right and to your right in the tool set, right on top of the 2D window. And the segment sewing sews, this is sewing segments, okay? One segment onto the other segment. You see there are others, but you choose segment sewing because we're going to sew one segment onto the other. And when we sew these segments one onto the other, just make sure the arrows lined up or else the sewing gets twisted. And I'll go into this later on. So you begin sewing. You can sew in the 3D window or you can sew in the 2D window. For me, sometimes it's really easier to sew in the 3D window. It depends. So here, when you click once and you click on the other one, you click on one line, you click on the other, you see that there are threads. A sewing relationship is developed between the two pieces. You click on this one, you click on the other one that corresponds. Make sure the arrows are pointed in the same direction. Here, you can do it like this too. One and the other. You click on that, you click on the other. Okay. You do understand when the thread gets all twisted, when it gets all twisted, and I'll show you something about that later on. Then you click on that icon right at the top, that wiggly icon, to simulate. Simulate means it's not going to sew everything together like in with a sewing machine. Okay, here I forgot the front to close up the front, and here it's done. I'm going to simulate, and now it's closed. So here we've created our top. I'm going to make it a little bigger, so I'm going to draw that rectangular box and just double click at that point in the middle. When I double click on that, I'm going to just make it a little wider. The points at the side, you see that little arrow is created. I'm just going to slowly drag it out, and that increases the width at equal distance, okay? So it's getting a little bit wider, little bit wider. I'm going to double click again. It turns light green. And here I'm just going to drag this out again and simulate. And that's even better. So it's not so tight fitting. So this too, it's another function when you drag the rectangular box over these pattern pieces. You can double click in the center. You see that little dot that turns light green, and then you can, as you lengthen, widen, or make pattern pieces narrower, as you wish. So the edit curve tool now, I'm gonna maybe curve these the armhole. You see it's all straight. So I'm gonna choose there are 4 functions. I'm gonna choose the edit arc because this one curves the line. Then later on I'll show you the functions of the others. So I'm just gonna just drag it in a bit, Just drag it into curve it, drag it into curve it. And here we use the edit arc tool. Simulate so that everything's falls in place. And if you're satisfied, then we take off simulation. So everything seems to be okay now. So we want to create a wavy hemline. So we go to the edit pattern tool, we select it because we want to select the hems on this cropped top by highlighting these lines. Remember, these pattern pieces are symmetrized. When I click on one, it mirrors what happens with the other. So I'm going to click on the lines. Now, first I'm going to pull these, left click, pull them out a little bit, make them a bit wider. So the hem becomes wider. So you could left click and drag it out. Here, we're not going to be picky about the distance of some measurements, not yet, at least. Here, it's just objective is to get you used to practicing with these tools because I've made this cropped. When you practice, you could make this top even longer. Okay, you can make the neck even more V-neck. You could make it even more like circular and many other things. So this is for practicing. So we can join these two lines, okay? All you have to do is left click on one and right click because we're going to merge these lines together because we want one continuous pattern piece. At this point, it doesn't, I really don't need the symmetry. So you can just click on it, right click and merge comes up. We merge these lines together. You see there are many functions here. We merge them. And when we merge them together, you see that there is this line left. We can cancel it. Right click and cancel it. Cancel axis. And when we cancel that axis, that means we've canceled the symmetry. So now there isn't any symmetry between the right and the left because we've merged everything together. And we do the same for the back piece. Merge, right click, cancel axis, and it's done. Simulate again. Make sure everything falls in place and looks proper. With the edit pattern tool selected for the back piece, I'm going to just uh, left click on that point and just drag it up a bit so that the back neckline, it looks better. Okay. Simulate, falls in place. There are points now at the hemline here that we really don't need, and we can just eliminate them easily. And to eliminate these points, we have to select the Edit Pattern tool. Okay, this is a tool we go to very often, and we can just left click on them. We click on them normally, click, and I say click, left click, okay. And then we right click, the box comes up, and we delete the point. And we do the same for the back pattern. We simulate again. So, okay, we don't have any points to deal with. Because remember, these points do split the lines. Okay, you add a point, but you split the line at the same time. So keep that in mind. So here I want one continuous line because always with the Edit Pattern tool selected, I'm going to be selecting these lines. And I'm going to be selecting these lines and just added some elastic. I'm not going to go into the detailed explanation today about the elastic too much, okay? I just want you to see that when you select the line, you see in to your right in the property editor, this box comes up. You need to scroll. And when you scroll, you see these different functions, okay? One of them is elasticity. And what you want to do is you want to turn on the elasticity because I would like to create a wavy hemline. So I've selected the front pattern, the line, the hemline on the front pattern, and I'm going to turn on the elasticity. Now, when you look again in the property editor, you see there are two values for strength and ratio. And these are the values you have to play with in order to create that look, that wavy look. As I've said, I'm not going to go into this right this minute, but we'll talk about this later on when we use elastic in our designs. But for now, I just want you to familiarize yourself, get a little comfortable playing around with these values and just trying to understand the effects of like turning one up and turning it going down. You see with the ratio, what's going on with the ratio. So here you just, play around. Just, yeah, don't think about too much. Well, I think that looks decent. And when you're satisfied with this, it's created, okay, you simulate. Let's try again here. And now that's better. So you see now it all looks a bit like choppy and not smooth. And this is due to the particle distance, which is the mesh density. And this is something we'll have to talk about later on too. So to bring up the particle distance, we select both. And you see to your right, simulation properties, particle distance is set on 20. And it's as I said, it represents the mesh density. So we want to lower it because we want more detail. Okay, 10, okay, and there things are starting to look even better. And we could even lower it to 5, we can lower it to 1. But I'll explain a little bit more about this in later videos. There we go to 5, and 5 brings out even more detail. So it makes it even wavier, but not so choppy and stiff. Of course, it depends on the fabric you use too. This default fabric that's being used, it's a default, it's cotton. So here you want to just arrange it, fix it like that. Okay, so I think so this is the basic cropped top with a wavy hemline. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.